2026. BMW Alpina B3 GT Touring. Review. This is the kind of car that sounds perfect in conversation, until you actually live with it, analyze its purpose, and compare it honestly to alternatives. 1. The core problem. It solves a problem that doesn't exist. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Who is this car for? A performance enthusiast? They'll prefer a sharper, more aggressive machine. A luxury buyer? They'll want something bigger, quieter, more premium. A family buyer? They'll choose something cheaper and more practical. So what does the B3 GT Touring do? White right pointing backhand index, it sits awkwardly in the middle, trying to be everything. And that's exactly why it fails. Money with wings too. Price tag versus reality. The illusion of exclusivity. At its price point, you're entering territory occupied by high-end performance sedans, premium SUVs with real presence, even entry-level exotic sports cars. But here's the reality. White right pointing backhand index, you're still driving a 3 Series wagon underneath. Yes, it's tuned, upgraded, refined, but fundamentally, same platform, same structure, same basic cabin DNA. And no amount of stitching or badging can hide that. The Alpina badge adds exclusivity, but not enough substance to justify the massive price jump. 3. Identity crisis. The car that refuses to pick a side. The biggest flaw isn't mechanical, it's philosophical. Compare it to a BMW M3 Touring. The M3 is aggressive, loud, raw, unapologetic. The B3 is restrained, softer, more refined. Sounds good, right? Not really. Because in trying to be refined performance, the B3 loses the edge that makes performance exciting, doesn't gain enough comfort to feel luxurious. So instead of balance, you get dilution. 4. Performance. Fast, but emotionally empty. Let's acknowledge the facts. Over 500 horsepower. Brutally quick acceleration. Strong mid-range torque. On paper, it's a monster. But driving it tells a different story. What's wrong? Power delivery feels too smooth, almost muted. AWD system prioritizes safety over engagement. Steering feedback is filtered and artificial. Compare that to something like a Audi RS4 Avant. The RS4 feels more aggressive, more alive. Or the M3. Sharper, more communicative. The B3. White right pointing backhand index, fast, but forgettable. 5. Weight and dynamics. Physics doesn't lie. This car is heavy. Very heavy. And no amount of engineering magic fully hides that. What you feel. Slight delay in direction changes. Less agility in tight corners. A sense of mass when pushing hard. It's composed, yes. But exciting? Not really. It feels like white right pointing backhand index, a luxury car trying to act sporty, rather than a sports car with comfort. 6. Interior. Premium. But not special. Step inside, and here's the issue immediately. It feels like a well-equipped BMW, not a 6-figure special machine. Yes, you get Alpina stitching, La Valina leather, unique trims. But same dashboard layout, same infotainment system, same design language. Now compare that to stepping into something like a Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo. That feels special. The B3. White right pointing backhand index, familiar to the point of disappointment. Mobile phone 7. Tech overload. Usability decline. Modern BMW interiors have leaned heavily into touch-based controls. That's not a win here. Problems include climate controls buried in menus, overcomplicated interface layers, distracting while driving. For a car marketed as refined and comfortable, usability should be effortless. Instead, it feels like white right pointing backhand index, a tech demo you have to manage, not enjoy. 8. Practicality. The wagon that isn't that practical. You'd expect a touring model to excel here. It doesn't. Issues. Rear seat space is only average. Middle seat is nearly unusable. Boot shape isn't class-leading. Compare it to a Volvo V60 Polestar engineered. Better usability. Smarter interior packaging. So again, the B3 falls into that same trap. White right pointing backhand index, not the best at what it claims to be. Fuel pump 9. Running costs, the silent killer. Owning this car long-term is where the illusion really breaks. Expect high fuel consumption, expensive servicing, specialized parts, limited availability for repairs. Alpina cars are niche, and that's not always a good thing. When something breaks, white right-pointing backhand index, you don't just fix it. You hunt for solutions. Wrench 10. Reliability concerns, long-term reality. While BMW engineering is generally solid, Alpina-specific tuning introduces complexity. Potential concerns: custom suspension systems, unique calibration components, higher stress on drivetrain. This isn't a car built for simplicity. It's built for precision at a cost. 11. Design, understated to a fault. Alpina's philosophy is subtlety. But here's the problem. At this price, subtle can feel like invisible. To most people, it's just another 3 Series. And that kills the emotional appeal. When you spend this much, you usually want presence, attention, recognition. This gives you none of that. Chart with downward trend 12. Depreciation risk. Niche cars often suffer from unpredictable resale value. The B3 GT Touring appeals to a very specific audience, lacks mainstream demand, competes with better-known alternatives, which means white right-pointing backhand index, it could lose value faster than expected. 13. The psychological problem. This car creates a strange ownership experience. You'll constantly think, should I have bought something more exciting? Why does this feel like a regular BMW sometimes? Was the price justified? That lingering doubt matters, because great cars don't make you question them. Squared versus 14. The competition exposes it. Let's be brutally honest. Against rivals, BMW M3 Touring more thrilling, Audi RS4 Avant more aggressive character, Mercedes-AMG C63 Estate more emotional, especially older V8. The B3 doesn't win clearly in any category. It just exists between them. Final verdict: a beautifully engineered mistake. The 2026 BMW Alpina B3 GT Touring is not a bad car in isolation. But in context, it's deeply flawed. What it does well: speed, stability, build quality. What it fails at: emotional engagement, clear identity, value for money, long-term ownership appeal, fire brutal closing statement. This is a car for someone who doesn't want attention, doesn't want extremes, doesn't want to commit to a clear choice. And that's the problem. Thank you for watching.